Willie and LaKeesha Hines. We are the co-founders of Support for Caregivers, which is a family-run, faith-based nonprofit organization here in the Tampa Bay area. And we're here to serve the caregivers of children who have special abilities, as we call them, or any type of chronic health care condition. We started out as a support group, and we saw the needs of these families were so much greater. And we really wanted to do something that would encourage, uplift, and inspire. And so we came up with this idea for other families to share their stories so that you wouldn't feel alone, so you wouldn't feel isolated and wouldn't feel as if nobody understood what you were going through. We understand. The other families who share their stories, they understand. And we really want to make sure that you guys walk away with something that will help you to just keep putting one foot in front of the other, taking one day at a time. And sometimes it's 1 minute at a time, and that's okay. But just know that we're here for you, and you have a whole community of other caregivers that are here for you as well. My name is LaKeesha Hines.
And I'm Willie Hines.
And we are the proud parents of 4 children, 23, 18, 10, and 9. Our 18-year-old Braelyn was born completely healthy, contracted bacterial meningitis when he was 5.5 months old. And because of the meningitis, he suffered from strokes, multiple seizures. We had the unfortunate experience of watching him be resuscitated twice. And we spent probably 6.5 weeks at a local hospital here in Tampa, St. Joseph's, as they worked to get him back to health and restore him to the best of their ability to a healthy place.
Our special needs journey began with a mild cold. A cold that just would not go away. That cold turned into some fevers here and there, up and down, and ended up in urgent care overnight. In efforts to try to get the fevers down, trying to get an IV in, Braelyn started seizing. Being rushed to St. Joseph's Hospital, where he had multiple seizures and 2 strokes, which has caused some brain damage. Left him severely developmentally delayed. That was at about 5.5, 6 months old. From there, intense therapies, I think all the therapies that you can name, occupational, physical, speech, aquatic, and over many, many years of those therapies has placed us where we are today as an 18-year-old. Some parts of the journey were very intense. Regarding his development, his delays, that's called self-injurious behaviors for lack of communication, low muscle tones, learning how to walk at the age of 6, so having to carry him everywhere as a growing boy, long nights because he doesn't sleep through the night, shunt placement and revisions, hernia repair. So we did the sleep study.
Multiple sleep studies, multiple hospital visits. I think also with him being nonverbal caused a lot of the self-injurious behaviors because he was frustrated that he couldn't communicate what it was that he wanted. I think too, just some of the simple things, having other children and being able to compare a quote-unquote typical child to an atypical child. You know, every single moment is priceless, and we appreciate every single milestone. With Braelyn being so delayed in all milestones, having global delays, you appreciate the first step because it's typical and it's normal behavior and it's things that you would expect. But having to be sedated to go into the hospital just for dental work, routine cleanings, is our norm with Braelyn. We went through this process mentally and emotionally of grieving the idea of what we had imagined and the vision of what we thought life was going to be like with this second son.
I've been called insensitive years ago because the first son, growing up very smart fella, into sports, and the next son, that was the expectation being going to sports and specifically football. So when Braelyn got sick, I said, wow, he won't be able to play sports. He had a VP shunt, which is attached to his brain. So I'm like, man, he won't be able to play football. And at the time, it's considered insensitive because we're like, your son is still living. You should be, appreciative of that. But I also was human at the same time, saying a portion of what I thought was going to be, as we do with all of our children, has died. And not in the physical sense died, but just the idea that he'll be a boy, one of those boys that's rambunctious and can't sit down, and but definitely into sports. So a portion of that was lost, and I had to God created a new norm for me, and I actually wouldn't change it, to be completely honest. It's a lot of work, a lot of sleepless nights, but wouldn't change it at all. Something that I know now that I didn't know at the beginning of my journey was that finding resources, finding the therapies, going through therapies and things of that nature, I did not know that it would be more work on me than it feels like on my child. So he definitely does. He the physical therapies and the speech and the work and all that, but the work that needs to be done after that to keep it consistent, to keep challenging the child, to keep raising the bar for the child. That's the work that we have to do as the parents. So we think, a therapist or someone comes into the home or at a facility, it's all done there. No, you have to continue that and be repetitive and consistent so that the child can truly benefit from the resources that they have.
What I know now that I didn't know then was that everything that we were enduring and everything that we were going through was for a purpose. I think during that season of recovery and just trying to get him healthy and going through therapies and all these multiple doctor's appointments and in and out of the hospital, you're just you're on autopilot. You're just in go mode. You're just trying to keep your child safe and keep them healthy and do whatever you can do so that they can thrive and be the best version of themselves that they can possibly be. But it was for a purpose. And God's timing was perfect. And so, asking the question, why me? What I know now that I didn't know then is I should have been saying, why not me?
And thank you, because we definitely feel chosen for this experience, and we are embracing it. I think another thing that we had to learn how to do was not get too down on ourselves if we look back on something and said we shouldn't have done that. Mm-hmm. What we had to get used to was we made the best decision with the information that we had at the time. Now looking back, we say, oh, okay, we could have done things different ways and we would get ourselves in a tizzy about it. But for the most part, we made the best decision with the information that we had at the time. But when we gave ourselves the opportunity to make mistakes and not saying we are perfect, everything got a little bit better. If I had a magic wand and could wish for anything right now, I don't know if it would be solely for Braelyn. I think in the special needs community or the disability community, I would like resources to be, or some type of roadmap to be there for individuals who are caring for children or anyone with disabilities, to have a roadmap of what to do and when to do it and how to go about doing it. While the disabilities may be unique in some circumstances, some of the information can be used through all different disability channels. So I think, understanding what type of preschools or schools that your children would benefit or be successful in, middle schools and then high schools, and then getting ready for, like I say, the 18-year-old time where we have to go through guardianship and Social Security and things of that nature. So if I had a magic wand, I would create a roadmap and say, hey, here are your checkpoints to do as your child grows.
I think for me, my magic wand would be to have outlets for that 18 to about 25, 30 for them to be able to just have entertainment. Like, I feel like there's really nothing for them to do. And they just don't have as many opportunities to socialize and interact with peers. And like, we're always looking for things for Braelyn to do that will be fun and exciting and engaging for him. So I wish that there were more extracurricular activities for once you get 18. Because when they're younger, there's so much there. But when they get older, you start to see services go away. You start to see activities and opportunities for them to just have fun. You start to see those kind of go away. And then secondly, I just want him to be happy. You know, I wish I knew exactly what the future held. And I wish that I could guarantee without a shadow of a doubt, 100%, that he would be fully taken care of, that he would be happy, that he would thrive and have a happy life. That's what I want. For me, I just want families to not quit and not give up, and just know that even though it may be difficult, it may be rough, you may have some tough times, you may have moments where you just feel as if you can't go on, reach out for support. Let people know what you're going through. Don't stay isolated. Don't feel as if you're by yourself, because you're not. And if you've been watching these videos, you know that you are not alone, that we're all going through something, whether you have a child with a disability or not. And I want you to get support and reach out and get help. Mental health is so important and it's so real. And we have to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves from a holistic standpoint, mentally, emotionally, physically, but most importantly, spiritually. And so if you don't believe in something that is bigger than yourself, I urge you to get connected with someone who can introduce you to the name that is above all names, and the only being that has kept us sane, that has kept us together, that healed our son, got him to the place that he's at, and blesses us every single day, so that you can have that encouragement and that hope. Because there is no greater love and there is no greater hope than what comes from God.
I want anyone to know and understand is that if you have or are taking care of anyone with a disability, anybody else that has that same type of lifestyle wants to help somebody else. We don't want anyone having to navigate or use a lot of time and energy to overcome some things that we've already overcome. So if you find a person or some type of support, they will bend over backwards to give you the resources that they have and say, hey, try this, do this. This is what I did, because no one wants you to go through that navigation process as they have. So I want to encourage, as LaKeesha stated, I want anyone to reach out for support. And even if it doesn't work for you, because some things don't work, pass it to somebody else. You just never know. But there are things out there for everyone. It's hard to get to. I would just want them to be honest with themselves and say, you know what, I need some help. I need some help. And people will bend over backwards to ensure you don't go through what they went through.